Kiefer Sutherland is remembering the hometown of his youth with his latest album. Have a listen.
Walking down Bloor Street, I make the right on Young. This old town, and I've gone round for round, but this is where I'm from.
Oh, so good. This is a clip from his single, Bloor Street, off his upcoming album of the same name. With more, Kiefer is joining us this morning. Welcome back to your morning.
Thank you very much. How are you?
I'm great. Great to see you. Hang on for just a second. I was going to ask you about your album, but can we talk about that Christmas tree up behind you? It is January 6th.
Well, I just think they look so nice, and I knew I was going to be doing some interviews over the next couple days, and I thought it looked prettier than a blank wall, so I've decided to keep it up.
Listen, you and I are together on Team Keep the Christmas Tree Up. Mine is still up as well. Everybody else's is in boxes, so that's too bad for them. You and I are kindred spirits.
This is not the only Christmas tree that is still up in my house.
It's good. I'm glad to hear that. Christmas all around, all the time. I want to start off with the single that we just played for everybody. It sounds like at that time you were longing for a taste of home. What were you thinking of when you wrote that, and what were you missing?
I was actually, I was walking down Bloor Street. I was shooting a television show called Designated Survivor, which we shot for 3 years in Toronto. And it was the first time I had been back home for any real length of time. I was back in Toronto for 10 months a year, and I was walking down Bloor Street, and I just came up to Yonge, and I just kind of started remembering that all of the firsts in my life happened at this intersection. And oh my gosh, my first kiss, meeting certain friends, and just my first job was at the food court in the Hudson Bay Center. So I was just thinking of all of these things between, the ages of 12 and 15. And I just started writing kind of from a very nostalgic point of view about the city that I grew up in and this city that I love.
Oh, I love hearing that so much. This pandemic times really made people nostalgic for where they grew up and something that feels safe and feels like home. So a lot of guys in the studio, by the way, they've been chatting about the fact that you went to Malvern Collegiate.
Yes.
They're pretty excited about that.
I went to a few high schools, but yeah.
Well, I didn't want to point that out on the air, but yeah, there were a few. But that's a story for another time.
Well, I wasn't the best student, and I'm grateful for all the help that the teachers that I had over the course of my scholastic endeavors paid me. I'm very lucky that the acting thing worked out.
Yeah, I'll say it worked out big time. But also, let's talk about your music. So the album has a variety of sounds. There's R&B, groove, you've got some ballads. How did putting together most of it during the pandemic, change or affect what you put into the album?
Well, I think what was interesting this is the third record that I've made. And for me, what was really different was that this was a very hopeful kind of positive record. And I have a tendency to be a little sarcastic and maybe a little cynical. But I think the pandemic, kind of made me realize how really grateful and lucky I have been in my life, and how much I missed my family and friends during this time period, and how much I valued them. And so a lot of songs that I wrote for this record were just really positive, because I was looking back on my life, and a lot of the songs were just a real expression of gratitude for me. So I hope that translates to the listener, but it certainly was where I was coming from when I wrote this record.
I love that. I was saying gratitude is muscle, and I love anytime anybody wants to express it in any way, whether it's in song or in notes or anything. I want to ask about this next role. You are not one to sit around, Mr. Sutherland. You are a very busy man. We're going to see you back in the White House in the upcoming series, The First Lady. You're going to play former President Franklin Roosevelt. Gillian Anderson's going to play your Eleanor. I'm curious how playing a real president compared to your experience on Designated Survivor.
Well, Franklin Roosevelt was my favorite president in American history.
Really?
When I would be asked that question, who was my favorite president when I was doing Designated Survivor, you can go back and check it. I just thought what he had to deal with as a president was extraordinary, not only for himself and his physical impairments, but what he had to deal with on the world stage. You get a little nervous when you're playing someone who actually existed, because you owe than the respect of doing it properly. But I felt very confident with the voice that I had, and myself and the wardrobe department and the makeup department, I think we created a very realistic look. And then obviously being able to work with Jillian, who just gave such a beautiful performance and something to work off of.
Yeah.
It was really one of my favorite experiences that I've had as an actor.
Well, that is saying something. I cannot wait to see the two of you together on screen. And also, we want to remember to remind everybody to have a listen to Bloor Street. January 21st it drops. Thanks, Kiefer.
Well, thank you so much for having me.
Keep the tree up till Valentine's Day.
Okay, I will try.
Hey, thanks for watching. If you liked this, be sure to subscribe here, or you can check out more Your Morning videos right here.